Psyche was our fifth exhibition and our third fully online exhibition season. We chose to work on the human mind following the concerns that we heard from young adults during our exhibition season on contagion, that mental health was a deep, deep concern for them. This was something that was confirmed by the kind of surveys that we saw internationally, that the health of the mind was becoming an important preoccupation for many across the world.
I would say that neuroscience is the final frontier. So, and psychological illnesses, psychiatric illnesses, of all the medical illnesses are the least understood even today.
There is a relationship between psychology and science, and that should be widened to a relationship between psychology, art, literature, and music, and science as well.
Bridging that gap is precisely the bridge between, the bits of information, so to speak, and the overall experience of a memory. This is a very important stage in our existence as humanity, and we need to know what makes us human.
After the pandemic, people were kind of thinking about mental health and brain behavior and how it affects.
A lot of people started reflecting about themselves, what they are, what they have been doing, whether it has been worthwhile all this time. A lot of deep and meaningful self-reflection that people weren't particularly ready to face.
What we tried to explore through Psyche for our audiences was the incredibly fascinating nature of the human mind, and also the fascinating fact that we try to understand our mind using our mind. So in many ways, trying to capture cognition, among many other functions that the mind serves, with our own cognitive abilities.
So if you can explain mental illnesses as a reflection of individual psychology, their social experiences, or even their brain, because people, once they understand things, are no longer afraid. We have succeeded a little bit in demystifying psychiatric illness. That is very, very important for reducing stigma.
We were incredibly lucky in having the National Institute for Mental Health and Neurosciences as a partner on this effort, as a result of which we had enriched programming that also drew upon their understanding and their research in the Indian context.
I think it's vital because, I think sometimes either it stays esoteric in a laboratory or it stays as a topic of conversation between friends maybe, or sometimes people read, but to have a curated exhibition that brings together people with very different and distinct perspectives, it gives a sense of how this is a topic that is part of the human journey.
And we were especially happy to see an overwhelmingly positive response to our programming in Kannada.
As we grow and do work in science, we do forget where we come from. And I feel that giving the talk in my local language is always a very, very pleasant thing.
We've always wanted to further our efforts in this direction. The incredible response that we received this time allows us to believe that more work needs to be done in Indian languages to bring research and high quality content around science in Indian languages.
The exhibition season wasn't just the exhibits, right? Like there were movies or films that you could watch, and there were lectures you could attend, and you could attend film discussions of the films that were screened, which is a very unique experience.
I found this variety very interesting, and it was great to watch all these psychiatrists, artists, and scholars come together and talk about our brain. I'd never thought that there would be so many games that talked about ADHD or even OCD.
And so I think in many ways it's a very very important time, a very important juncture to address people's attitudes and beliefs about mental health, and alongside that to be able to have a much broader perspective on what mental health problems are and how they should be managed.
Psyche was received positively also internationally, as a result of which we were able to exhibit a part of Psyche at the Wellbeing Summit in Bilbao. We're elated by the response that our audience gave us this exhibition season. As we move towards hybrid exhibitions, we're now hoping to enhance both the online and offline experience of our living exhibitions.